Bingo, we're back. Maybe that person needs a companion, huh? Oh, sure. All right, we're back. Gus, take it away.
What I was about to hit on before the commercial is like one of these best-kept secrets by the United States government. Federal government has a pool of money set aside, hundreds of millions of dollars set aside for veterans and their spouses. A lot of people, and even though that are veterans, even though that deal with the VA a great deal and everything else, are not aware that this pool of money is set aside for veterans and their spouses specifically for in-home care.
Right.
Slow.
That was important. Slow down. Make sure they listen.
All right.
Are you listening out there? Go.
Why I bring that up is that, number one, I'm very sensitive to the veterans and how wonderful it is that they've served this country and put themselves on the front line. The fact that it's not publicized and they have this money coming to them when they can use it most drives me crazy.
Okay, so go over the whole thing slowly. Veterans, grab a pen or a pencil.
Well, I'm going to tell you there's two ways to go about this and find out about it, because it's going to be based on your income as well as your service record. You can try to go through the red tape of dealing with it on the Internet and going directly to the federal government. It may take you weeks to figure this out, and then cut into all the red tape months. Anybody that wants to and deals with senior helpers, I have a nationwide partnership with an agency out there that helps cut through all the red tape.
Beautiful stuff.
And I've dealt with them, and within the last year, I've sent a dozen veterans and their spouses to them, and they've come back with nothing but accolades, because they're treated like I treat my people, warm and fuzzy on the other end of the phone. People answering the phone that want to be there because they honestly want to help the veterans. They will ask you some basic questions to let you know if you're entitled and what you may be entitled to. They will help you get the paperwork, and obviously there's paperwork involved. Federal government, there's always paperwork involved. They will not fill it out for you, but they will guide you through how to do it.
And this is a companion stipend?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Are you hearing this out there? Because if you're not, you should be. There are federal subsidies out there for veterans?
Absolutely.
Oh, gosh, good topic.
It seems to be the best-kept secret since I ran Contra back in the 1970s, or I should say 1980s.
Come back, Blair. Go ahead.
Just not for the veterans, but the spouse of the veteran, as long as they put their time in the war.
Mm-hmm.
So if you
Intelligent over here.
Absolutely.
Nicely done, Blair.
You can find out more, because, like I said, it will cost the veteran and their spouse absolutely nothing. That comes from me. Okay? And the most important thing is to find out as soon as you can and get the applications in, because it is retroactive back to the day that you originally file your application. So it may take you, once you file your application, it may take you a couple of months to start getting that money, but it's retroactive to the date that you file, and that's what's important for people to understand. And I stress that because it'll help more people get more help in the home. And like I said, I have nothing but respect for the veterans. Uncles and everybody, friends, fathers that were in the war. And I myself now 53 years young. I mean, I have friends that served during the first Gulf War, very proudly. I see veterans on the street, and I'm never at a loss to walk up and just say, thank you.
Yes.
And to me, not letting veterans know about this big pool of money is ridiculous. But you know how the federal government is. We'll put it aside, but we don't want you touching it.
Okay, well, that's. I know the lines are going to be lit up. How long do we have you for?
Another 10 minutes.
Okay, another 10 minutes. So we're going to take a very faithful sponsor of ours. It's the Matatuck Minute. We do this every Wednesday. My friend Stephanie Harris, how you doing?
Good, Mike. How are you?
Good. So what we do for you listeners out there, we give a Matatuck Minute every Wednesday. Stephanie Harris goes over what's happening at the museum. The museum, we all feel, is an essential part of the city of Waterbury and just a great place for seniors to go and see some art, listen to some jazz. What do you have on your topics today, my friend?
Well, major thing is the opening reception for 2 brand new exhibits opening on Sunday.
And that would be from 2 to 4 o'clock?
You did your homework. That's right, Mike.
I'm going, of course.
Well, Mike, that's where we could come in and bring anyone that wants to go there that can't drive.
Yes, way to interject. Get going on that. Okay, so you're out there. Your hubby is in Florida playing golf with his buddies. You and your lovely friends want to get together. You have them drive over to your house. You call Senior Helpers and walk me through what you would do.
Well, we would pick them up, and we would drop them off at the museum.
Right.
They could, the the friend or companion can stay with them at the museum or leave and come back and get them.
And obviously, almost everyone under the sun has a cell phone, so they would just simply call them. Seniors really don't love texting, but they would somehow communicate with their friend or companion. It's time to pick us up.
Exactly.
All right, Stephanie, are you excited about it? Because I am.
That sounds amazing. That's a great opportunity for seniors in the area.
Yeah, we're working on that. So I've got to get more people down, and there's sometimes a barrier. Well, I can't get there. We've got senior helpers in the studio here making sure you can.
That's incredible.
All right, so what other all right, so let's discuss the art that's going to be displayed, because it's a great postcard, whoever put it out.
Thank you. I did it.
Oh, magnificent job.
Perfect.
Yes, Stephanie, you took care of that?
Absolutely.
So what, they JPEG'd or PDF'd you the art picture, and then you juxtaposed it. One had a picture of some chairs stacked up, and the other one had some black and whites.
Absolutely. The black and whites are the exhibit on the second floor in the Whittemore Gallery.
Right.
It's a printmaking exhibit, all from the same collector, Dr. Dorrance Kelly,
Yes.
from the early part of the 20th century.
Okay.
And then the chairs that were stacked, that's a still life done by Eric Forstman, and his exhibit is taking over the two galleries on the first floor, and his art is very contemporary. It's still life, landscape, urbanscapes, very, very different exhibits, and we're very excited to host both.
I hope it's going to be packed.
It should be. We've got people coming in from New York City, friends of Dorrance. The artist will be there, and the collector, which is really exciting. We're going to get to hear them say a few words about each of the two exhibits, so that'll be very interesting.
Right on. I'm definitely going. I'm bringing my beautiful wife, Diana. We're going to go and obviously throw back a couple of glasses of wine, too. It always makes the art look better. And that's going to be a costly day, because I'm sure she's going to want some lunch, and I've got the babysitter. Maybe I could use a companion. All right. So what's First Thursday? Is that next week as well, next Thursday?
Yeah, First Thursday is next week, and we've got the Brian Earl Jenkins Band playing. It's a group of 4.
So it's the 7th.
Yes, March 7th at 5:30.
March 7th, what time?
5:30 to 7:30, our usual First Thursday, folks.
Right. Same jazz time, same jazz channel.
That's right.
And who's our artist?
It's Brian Earl Jenkins, and he's bringing a group of 3 other performers with him. It's contemporary jazz, as opposed to some of the performers who do the jazz standards of
traditional
exactly.
jazz. Right.
So
contemporary. You got contemporary art on Sunday, contemporary jazz on Thursday. Looking like a good week at the museum.
That's right. There's a whole theme going on.
Nice. Excellent. Hey, thank you so much for a great Manituck Minute.
Thank you, Mike.
Stephanie Harris, have a good day.
You too, Mike.
All right. We losing you?
Yes,
All
I
right.
gotta go.
Real pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. All right. So, pretty good. Hey, thanks very much.
Thanks,
Blair.
Okay, Blair D. Foley exiting the studio.
And there she goes.
There she goes. All right, so...
Mike, maybe if you don't mind, maybe we could switch gears a little bit, too.
Take it.
Because what I'd like to do is I'd like to touch base on Alzheimer's and dementia a little bit.
Do it.
Because I guess maybe it was me being naive before I got involved in this. I was in my late 40s, but still naive to Alzheimer's and dementia. I guess the phrase that I was used to from the time of a child on was... they're senile. If you saw an older person and they started, the memory wasn't as sharp, you just thought it was because that's what happens to people that get older.
Right.
Actually, Alzheimer's and dementia, since I've gotten involved in this and gotten more into it, and I've had family members and friends that are battling it at this particular point. Alzheimer's and dementia is really, it's a medical condition. And it's a medical condition where the brain itself shrinks, changes, you end up with holes in the brain, literally holes in your brain, that don't allow you to have the long-term memory you once had. And I'll speak from a family point of view. My dad's older sister is going through it now. And my dad and I talked to my cousins about it, and my cousins, dad said, "Oh no, she's doing fine." I talked to her. We were talking about the farm when we were kids, so that was like 75 years ago. They can remember. They have long-term memory is fine. It's really the short-term memory that's tough. So I talked to my cousins, and they said, "Well, gosh, she's really not doing good." And so I talked to my dad. I said, "Dad, do me a favor, go down and see her." My father did go visit his sister. Took an hour and a half drive. They spent the day together. Came back. And he was in tears talking to me on the phone because he said, Gus, you're right. She can't even use the knife and fork. I have to help her eat and everything else. Alzheimer's and dementia. People say, well, we'll try medication, and it might work to a certain extent, or we'll keep reminding her it'll come back. The fact is, it's not coming back, the memory. If anything, it might get worse. Mm-hmm. And a big thing that Senior Helpers does, number one, our people are trained to deal with Alzheimer's and dementia. A big thing Senior Helpers we launched about a year ago is called the GEMS program. And what the GEMS program is it gives a basic idea of different stages of Alzheimer's and dementia. Because we don't believe that somebody should be labeled stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. Instead, you're a sapphire, you're a ruby, you're an emerald, you're a diamond. And we associate different stages of Alzheimer's and dementia with each one of those jewels. Our staff are trained in this to deal with so they'll be comfortable dealing with it. But another big thing that Senior Helpers did as part of this GEMS program is we have DVDs, and we're trained to talk to the families, to educate the families. Okay. Because, and again, in my condition, my situation, it was the same thing. The family needs to be educated on how to interact with that person that's suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia, because they're not going to change. The family members have to educate themselves what to look for, what signs to look for, and how to really live in their world and live at the moment. Okay. And I think that's very, very important. And you can call up our office and we can order a disc for you. Senior Helpers phone number is 203-364-0434. You can get on the Senior Helpers website, seniorhelpers.com, and you can order it through there, and they'll send you directly a DVD on Alzheimer's and dementia that shows how to interact, how to live in that moment. Because a lot of times, too, if you're not educated on what that loved one is going through, it becomes more and more frustrating to you. The dynamics of your relationship with that loved one are changing because your frustration is building, not because you're angry with them, but because you just don't know what to do, and it's frustrating that you can't help that loved one. With this DVD and Senior Helpers standing beside you and educating you, it can change the whole dynamics, not only improve on the life of the person going through it, but improve for the primary caregivers and the family members and loved ones that are there. You'll see what they're going through. You'll adapt to it a different way, look at it at a different light, okay, and be able to identify things better and work along with it.
Smart. Wow, lots of stuff going on. All right, so I've got to do a little bit of insurance.
Absolutely.
This is Medicare and You. I've got to do a little bit of due diligence, but I'll come back to you. 203-757-1320. Let's hear some phone calls. All right, healthcare reform. Went to an awesome seminar. Beautiful job, Carmody and Torrance, as being a sponsor. You had, I have it right here. You had the Cohn Resnick LLP today. I think the guy did a really good job. Healthcare Council. I'm a board member. It was a good meeting. And you know what? I know this is kind of a nerdy show, healthcare and stuff, but it's here to stay. I saw a very well-known gentleman in society, philanthropic as can be, Chuck, no last names, but the guy is just unbelievable. He felt so strongly he took the time to get out of bed early and be there this morning. And gentleman owns a very large company. He could have just sent somebody, but he felt it was important to go himself. So let's talk about a couple of the items. One, the letter that was supposed to go out from the carrier to the employer. The employer was supposed to inform the employees by March 1st that the exchange were up and running. That has been delayed. Why has it been delayed? Due to the fact that there's just so much information. Exchange notice has been delayed from March 1st, 2013. Some say April. The real think tank people like me and a bunch of other nerds out there say it won't be mandatory till the summer, just because there's so many mandate changes. Does healthcare reform affect your industry at all, or not much?
It does, and people are saying, does it affect it negatively or positively? With everything going on, it depends on the client and depends on the needs of the client.
Okay.
So,
But
yes.
they're still paying for it, so they have to pay you.
Absolutely.
You don't take Medicaid and you don't take Medicare.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the reason why, Michael. We'd like to, but the sad part is that the federal and state governments are so far behind on the needs of the elderly.
Sure.
That what we get reimbursed for our assignments would barely cover my caregiver, and it wouldn't even cover my overhead.
No,
so
it would definitely not cover the overhead.
And I think, in fact, I know our prices are fair. They're middle of the line. And
No, they're very fair.
And we work very hard and provide the best caregivers out there, and that's what we market, that we have the best in the industry. And I'd love to be able to work more with Medicare and Medicaid, but right now it's an impossibility.
A couple things I liked a lot was the live-in care, which as long as they get 8 hours of sleep and they get appropriate break time. I liked that a lot. And I also liked the peace of mind visit. That was my favorite one. That's got to be so relaxing that the person, whether it be the client itself or usually it'd be the family member for the peace of mind paying for it, someone just checks in on the loved one.
Yeah, let's touch on both of those.
Please do.
Okay, the peace of mind visit is exactly that. We have a lot of clients that the loved ones either don't live in the same town, and in many instances don't even live in the same state.
Right.
And a lot of times, mom or dad won't pick up the phone. Or if they're sitting out front, they won't. Maybe they don't listen to their answering machine for 3 or 4 days. And if you're here up in Newtown, Connecticut, Southbury, Connecticut, Farmington, but your loved ones are down in Washington, D.C., or we have family members out in California, they can't reach mom. They're losing their mind. So what we do is we make sure that we touch base with mom and dad.
Great service.
We touch base with them every day on the phone, and we'll touch base with them once a week to get out there.
Right.
Because it gives them it gives the family member a peace of mind, exactly as it says.
Yeah, it does.
They can't reach mom or dad. If they don't have somebody else there, such as us, their only thing that they can do is panic. Hey, I would too.
And how many times can you bother a neighbor or one of your friends? It's like,
exactly.
You know what?
Or
I got a life too.
Or the neighbors and friends, they may not be home, especially in the summertime.
Right.
They'll call mom and dad. Mom and dad don't answer. They call us. Relax, mom and dad. We chatted with them this morning, or we stopped by this morning. Mom and dad are visiting the neighbor, or mom and dad are sitting on the back porch, or mom and dad decided to go up to Fairfield Hills and take a walk around Fairfield Hills. Then all of a sudden, the anxiety level goes down.
It's beautiful.
It's
just that
great.
Cognitive dissonance of they're okay.
And I actually started that with my mom. I told you she's a tough old Irish lady. I started that with my mom before I can convince her to get a caregiver in there full time with her. Live-in. We can touch base on live-in. Live-in is for those people that can't be left alone at all. Live-in is charged. We bill out on a daily basis, and we pay our caregivers on a daily basis. And because if we charge you hourly for live-in around the clock, it would cost you probably, in fact, I know at least twice as much.
$20 an hour.
Exactly, and it's crazy. So live-in is, I break it down in my mind, and I explain to my clients, I explain to my caregivers. Live-in is exactly that. We have caregivers that go in and live in the home, and people say, well, how long do they stay? Well, we stay as long as you need it. And depending on the caregiver, some caregivers like to work 7 days a week, and they maybe take a weekend a month off, or they'll work 7 days a week, and they'll let us know 2 weeks in advance when they want a vacation, and that's fine. We have what I call the 5 and 2s. One person works 5 days a week, the other person works 2 days a week, but it's the same two people continually week in, week out.
Right.
And in the same principle, we have the 4 and 3s. One person 4 days a week, one person 3 days a week. How I break it down in my mind, it is live-in, we charge a live-in rate, is 3 8-hour shifts. 1 8-hour shift, obviously over the course of the day, they're going to be there with mom and dad, make sure they have their meals, cook their meals for breakfast, lunch, dinner, be there for companionship, whatever they need. In my mind, I break it down to 3 8-hour shifts. 1 8-hour shift where I call it the busy work. Maybe that's when you're going to throw the laundry in. Maybe that's when you're going to clean the countertops and straighten up a little bit, run a mop over the kitchen floor or vacuum over the living room floor. Or maybe that's when mom and dad have to get out and get to an appointment, doctor appointment, hospital. Mom wants to go get her hair done. Dad wants to go see his buddy. So it's really wherever they want to go and whatever they do. 8 hours, the next 8 hours is more like downtime. They're still there for whatever mom and dad need, but maybe mom and dad want some private time where they want to sit and watch TV together, watch their favorite show.
Jeopardy.
There you go. I hope so. It's been my favorite since the 60s.
Alex Trebek.
There you go. They want to
Senior Helpers for 4.
They want a little. They want a little time for themselves, or if it's just mom at home by themselves, she wants a little time. She wants to watch some TV. She wants to sip a cup of tea without somebody there. The senior helper aide will either go watch it on TV, do some reading, listen to the radio, do some. I have a lot of students too. Do some schoolwork, and just stay out of the way. But they're there for beck and call as soon as the person needs them. They're there. Then what we have is 8 hours of sleep, mandatory 8 hours of sleep, and few reasons. There could be a caveat to that. If the client needs them, they're going to be there. They're not going to leave the client sleeping because it's sleep time and the client's calling for them. We will be there. Right. But they need to get 8 hours of sleep. Number one, because I don't want to burn out my caregivers. And number two, my caregivers, I demand that we provide the best care in the industry, and that's what I market. If my caregivers are burnt out, they can't take care of mom or dad's needs or your loved one's needs and do it in a proper, safe manner if they're not sharp.
Sharp is key.
Sharp is very
You don't want them dozing off or losing focus. You need them sharp.
Mm-hmm.
Well put.
Absolutely. So that's really a live-in situation. And the same with the hourly assignments. I tell my caregivers, I tell my clients, expect to see my ugly face at the door when you don't expect to see me.
Checking.
I tell them. Because actually when I leave this show, I'm heading back to Newtown, but there's 3 clients on my mind, and I'm just going to pop in, see how things are going. I like to see what's going on in the home and nobody expects me to see me. I like to see that make sure the work's being done, the caregiver's doing their job, that my client is happy, that the interaction is there, that they have what I continue to refer to as that warm and fuzzy relationship. It's important. I speak to my clients on a weekly basis, speak to my caregivers on a weekly basis, receive timesheets and notes. I keep a notebook in the home where we take notes every day, but I still like to go there and see it for myself.
Beautifully said.
So.
All right, so as you're checking on the clients, God bless everyone in Sandy Hook. We are so sorry for what happened to your area.
Thank you.
Gus Thanasoulis with Senior Helpers. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it.
We're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back talking about Medicare.